Yesterday's Buffalo Bills 23-20 victory over the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland on a colder, crisper December day. Bills get to 11-4 on the season. Welcome into the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show on a Buffalo Football Victory Monday. And, of course, that means it's the Catholic Health Extra Point Show here on a Monday, as we always do. Presented by Catholic Health, the right way to care. And brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com. Also by Northtown Hyundai, Western New York's premier Hyundai dealership. Shop online at northtownhyundai.com. Sal Capaccio with you. Good to be with you today here, both on the radio and on the stream. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitch, appreciate you. Make sure you get into that chat box if you want to chat with all of our great bullpen friends, if you will. AC Man, want to give a shout out. I was at an event this weekend. Got to see AC Man there, so thanks for the support. Love that. He's always in there. We got DL, Mark, I think it is, Beluza, Hot Dirt, a lot of the same. Bill is in here. Thank you very much, Mark, Mike. Okay, so I got a lot of you in there saying hi, and I'll get to you a little bit later in the show if we can. But in the meantime, you guys keep the good times rolling in there. We'll keep the good times rolling here on the radio at 803-0550. Your chance to give a call and take part in the program and in the show in any way that you want to contribute your phone calls as far as what happened, what went down yesterday in Cleveland. 23-20, the Bills beat the Browns. Got the Victory Monday shirt on. It is a Victory Monday, and you take those victories, even if they come at, a bit of a grind, more of a grind than you thought. Even if they come with maybe a closer call than you thought. You can't win the Super Bowl in week 16 or 17. You can only play the team on your schedule. You try and go 1-0. Every game has its own DNA. Say it every week. Say it all the time. It's very true. I mean, take a look at what happened the last few weeks. You go Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and New England. In some way, shape, or form, in all three of those games, the Bills are down early, down at halftime. They have to come back and win the game in the second half. Much more notable comebacks against Cincy and against New England than against Pittsburgh, but it happened. And then this one, they're up at halftime. You think they're cruising along, and then the script flips a little bit, and they have to kind of hang on for a victory and escape, if you will, Cleveland, 23-20. And you take that. I don't get the sense. I coined the term a few weeks ago, the misery of winning. And I don't get the sense, maybe I'm wrong today, that there's a misery of winning out there with Bills fans. I think it's more of a, you should have beat the Browns by a little bit more. And I get that. I'm not fighting back on that. I think they should have taken care of it. They should have got this game home or got it to the garage quicker than they did, as Bulldog would say when he talks about the Sabres. So no doubt about that. And there were things and reasons why they didn't, and ways in which you have to be better at those kinds of games against better teams. But in this moment, against this team, the Bills did what they were supposed to do at the end of the game to take care of it and to ultimately win it. The Bills didn't have their A game this week, especially in the second half for some reason. I think I don't know if it's a lack of focus, taking your foot off the gas. You're up on a team that has 3 wins, and suddenly they're climbing back in the game. It is the NFL. Anything can happen. But I mean, little things like drop passes, a drop pass from James Cook, a big one early in the second half. Was it even the first play, maybe the second half? A drop pass from Dawson Knox in the end zone, right? Brandon Cooks 2 weeks in a row now. You have Josh Allen missing a wide-open Khalil Shakir for a big gain. There were just little things that added up in this game, offensively especially, that it felt like the Bills were not on their A game, especially in the second half. And I don't have an explanation for that necessarily. They need to be better than that. And you can't get away with that all the time, but they did enough to get out with a victory. And at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? And they get to 11-4. And then you let everything else kind of sort itself out around the league, whether that's the Patriots and the Ravens last night, which we can talk about later and what the implications are. Whether that's the Texans obviously winning over the Raiders and not allowing the Bills to clinch a playoff spot yesterday in the 4 p.m. hour, which, by the way, I mean, look at that. I mean, the Raiders played a good game against the Texans, or the Texans did not just run away from the Raiders, right? I mean, this is a weird league sometimes. You never know. Tonight, Bills can clinch a playoff spot. If the Indianapolis Colts lose or tie against the San Francisco 49ers, the Bills are in. Even if they win, the Bills are going to make the playoffs. They're going to be in the playoffs. And right now, it's kind of more about big picture. It's about seeding. I know that the division is still alive. I get it. I think the chances to win are pretty minimal because you can't see the Jets or the Dolphins beating the New England Patriots over the next 2 weeks. But you keep playing until that's the case. And who knows, maybe just by some crazy football god weird stuff happening, maybe next week, somehow the Jets at home claw their way to a win over the Patriots in the 1 o'clock hour game window, and then the Bills hit the field knowing they win 2 in a row and they're going to be division champs, right? I don't expect it to happen, but you just keep playing until that does happen. We got a Josh Allen foot injury that we're monitoring this week after yesterday's game, and him taking a sack near the goal line, tried to escape and did not work out so well. Myles Garrett gets a half a sack for that because he's one of the closest players to the play when that happens. Thankfully, Josh Allen is okay. At least he played the rest of the game. He had x-rays on his foot. They got through it the rest of the way, but it is something to monitor. I would not be surprised if Josh was on the injury report this week. I wouldn't even be surprised if he's limited in some capacity at practice. I just wouldn't be surprised if they want to manage that somehow. But here you still are fighting for a playoff spot. Maybe tonight you get it. You're fighting for seeding. You're fighting for a division until you know that you're out of it. And the Bills will keep doing that. I want to get your thoughts on yesterday's game. 803-0550 is the number to call. There's a lot of, as with anything, I just had this conversation with a coworker this morning. And I say this all the time, and I try to explain it to people. And I get it. Like, believe me, I'm very self-aware. I know what a lot of you say. Oh, my God, too optimistic. Homer, don't criticize. It's just never true. It's not true. What I do is, though, I understand a fan. A fan's reaction is to live in an emotional swing state, right, is what you do. A fan, you're a fanatic, and you're supposed to be very emotional as the game's going on and looking back on it and thinking everything is so good or everything is so bad in the moment, right? You got to live kind of, by the way, I'm on the stream right now. I'm doing this. You got to live up. You live up here or you live down here as a fan sometimes. You're either really high or really low, and you ride those waves. And that's why I tweeted a couple weeks ago, can't imagine what Twitter was like or X was like during the game against the Bengals. Like, it's so, I get it. That's not my job. My job, I believe my job is at least to try to live a little more in the middle for you, okay? When things are looking really bad, here's why they're not so bad. When things are looking really good, here's why they're not so good maybe. But either way, it's, hey, it's more of an explanation. This is why things went well. This is why things went wrong. For example, yesterday, the Bills looked great to start the game compared to what they had recently, right? Not on defense. They allowed a first drive, and you can't do that. I'm talking about offensively, not a slow start this time. They scored touchdowns in the first 3 possessions. And this has been that's a difference from what they had done the previous few weeks when people have been calling here and tweeting about just hammering Joe Brady and having these bad game plans to start. They had a great game plan to start this game. Give them credit for that. But the flip side was they didn't make good enough adjustments in the second half to counter what the Browns were doing against them defensively. And give the Browns credit. The Browns did a good job on defense to slow down the Bills' run game. That's a really, really good defense. And they were able to do that. The Bills didn't have a counter as much as you'd like to try and do some different things in the run game. And, of course, they didn't have the wide receivers on the outside to kind of make up for it, right? And we saw that again yesterday. That reared its head. And we could talk about all of that today here on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show. I have my arrow up, arrow down column at WGR550.com. You want to check that out. And, yes, one of the arrows down again, and it seems like it's a weekly theme, is the Bills' lack of production from their wide receiver group. I mean, outside of Khalil Shakir, once again, Bills receivers overall accounted for 2 catches for 23 yards. That is unacceptable. You can't have that. Although, I mean, it's acceptable if you keep winning, I guess, from that standpoint. My point is, though, that you need more. And this is something that's happening every week, and it's just coming to, it's going to hurt them at some point, you think. And it hasn't. And especially if you're managing Dalton Kincaid and he gets 0 catches on 1 target, and I understand why he's not playing as much. Dawson Knox drops a pass. James Cook drops a pass. If you're not getting picking up the slack from those positions, then this is a big issue. And yesterday it happened again, but the Bills did enough. You know why? Because their defense stepped up when it needed to. And that also has been kind of a theme here over the last few weeks where the defense started slow and then did what they're supposed to do. In this game, it wasn't necessarily was a slow start in the first half. the first drive, I should say. But in the second half, the Browns started running the ball. They started doing some nice things. But in the critical moments, the Bills' defense made plays. Greg Rousseau, Joey Bosa with a tip. And they had to rely on that. 803-0550 is the number to call here on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show. My guy Butch is going to lead us off today on the east side. I will not talk to you before Christmas, so Merry Christmas to you, Butch.
Merry Christmas to you, my brother. I love you. I love MSG. I love WJATS, all the fans who listen and watch this show. I love each and every one of you. I'm going to get right to it, Sal. I don't consider myself a fan anymore. I consider myself part ownership of this organization. And reason why, in 1973, I went to my first football game with my family. In 1977, I started going by myself, catching a little bus, buying my little ticket from Tops for $8 and getting on the bus down by the Greyhound going to the game. So I'm past the fan standpoint of it. This is part of my life. And the feelings, my father always told me, don't catch feelings, catch colds. Why? He said, because a feeling, it hang around and it messes you up. It takes a while to get rid of. A cold you can get rid of in 2 days. So I don't like reacting off my feelings. But I just want to just say this. It comes a time after 16 games, or 15 games rather, that things should be corrected. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm wrong. I love the W. I'm glad about the win. But some fans, I can figure, will they might be picky because they see something that should have been corrected 15 games ago. Or if they didn't kick 15 games ago, at least 6 games ago. And that's stopping the run. 15 weeks of anyone, I'm talking about anyone, I'm not just talking about certain teams, anyone, a no-name running back can just get to it and do something to you and put damage to you. That's a serious problem. And don't get me wrong, one thing about Sean always goes, this has always been Sean's philosophy for 9 years anyway. Sean will make adjustments at halftime and come out and kick your butt. That's just what he does. So I understand that. But when you go 15 weeks and it's just anyone can run through you, and any quarterback can look like Brady, I have a problem with that because it's something with your system that you need to either surrender and go forward and do something better or just change it. Now, what I'm saying is this. That 4-2-5 that we run, he brought Bernard back off. Bernard just came back healthy. We started him. We had something going with the regular base 4-3 with Shaq.
They did not start Terrell Bernard. They did not. Shaq started and got hurt.
Okay, we started and he got hurt. That's when he made the tackle and he hit the guy real good. But anyway,
yeah. Butch, I got to run, buddy. What is the overall point? What do you want to happen? You've been on for 3 minutes. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay, this is the overall point.
Yeah.
To move forward to win this thing, we have to go back to the base 4-3. That 4-2-5 is not working.
Okay.
Devon Johnson is 2 steps behind. You got to go with the younger boys.
They played more base this year than they have in many years past, though, just so you know, Butch. All right? I got to go, buddy. I love you, too. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. Michael in the Dominican. Hi, Michael.
Hey, how are you? Yeah, it's Michael from Atlanta. We're in the Dominican Republic on a cruise. And I got to tell you, last week on Sunday, watching with a couple hundred Bills fans was just freaking amazing. I couldn't watch this game. There was no reception. They took all the extra TVs out of the casino to put in more gambling machines. So we only had one game on yesterday. But anyhow, the thing is, what I'm looking at is the drop passes, the focus. They seemed so dialed in last week in the second half out of that one mistake when everybody on defense, flew to that running back who then just reversed field and nobody stayed home to get them. And they stayed focused on offense, on defense, and yes, you made a great point, and you make this great point that the other team they're paid to win, to play also. They're going to try to win, especially against a good team like Buffalo. They got their backs against the wall. They've got nothing to play for. They're going to let it all hang out. So I understand that. By the way, that could happen with the Jets next week too. I'm not ruling the Jets out of that game. I think they're going to play their hearts out when they play New England. So the point is that what happens with the focus? Yes, there's things that Cleveland did, obviously, to impact the game and keep the score where it was. But the self-inflicted errors, that's what kind of really bothers me. I want to hear your response, but so you can lead me on for a couple minutes so I can hear, because I have no backup here to listen.
I don't really know what the question is, though. What to respond to what? I'm
Question is
sorry.
about-
I don't.
about-
I know. Go
about
ahead.
about the lack of focus with the drop passes.
Sure. I just talked about it a little while ago, Mike. I mean, yeah, those are things that you can't have, and I don't know if they took their foot off. I have no idea. I don't know if they took their foot off the gas. I don't know if, Dawson Knox, we talked about him in the locker room. He was very accountable. He said he felt terrible. He let his team down. He's like, I don't know what happened there. He obviously closed his hands a little too soon. I mean, but yeah, I don't have an answer for it. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I know it's very mysterious, right? I mean, against a better team.
I would say this, though. I think right. Here's what I would say. When you play a 17-game NFL schedule, you're never going to be at your complete top focus every single play of every single half all the time. You hope it doesn't bite you in a certain position. They had a lead against a bad team, and maybe maybe that's what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, a little too conservative. By the way, real quick, is Joshua Palmer, is he still out with an injury?
No, he played yesterday.
Oh, he did play? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He had one catch for 2 yards. All right. Hey, buddy, have a great cruise. I appreciate you giving a call. Billy in Toronto. Hi, Billy.
Hey, Sal, listen, not a worry in the world. We've been playing like this all year. We got the win, and that's all that counts. The most important thing, and before that, you're exactly right. I mean, we can't say this team's not focused. Things are going to happen sometimes. You drop passes. A quarterback overthrows a wide-open guy. A tackle is missed. It doesn't mean you're not focused. It's going to happen once in a while. Here's the bottom line, how I see it, and that's going forward. We've got the Cincinnati Bengals, the Baltimore Ravens just about out the door, and Kansas City gone. Okay? If any one of these teams want to take us on, that's left, God bless you. This is our year, Sal. I know I've been saying it, but listen to me. What we have to do is, and I know our receivers aren't looking good and stuff. I want us to go back to 3 years ago when we lost that game with 13 seconds left to Kansas City when both teams are going up and down the field. These last two games, I want it on tape. I want these playoff teams to say, we are coming out, and this is going to be a shootout. Don't look for a 10-7 game. You better beat us 45-42, and we got the best player in the league leading our charge. This is how I want it done. I want it on tape. Then once we get into the playoffs, maybe we can run the ball a little bit more because they're seeing something different. If this team goes toe-to-toe and just puts the ball in the air and says, we're going to crush you, enough of this garbage during the regular season, I told you this is going to happen. Once we get into the playoffs and it's mano-a-mano and we're going to beat you 45-40, we will win the Super Bowl. It's that simple, Sal. That's all I got.
All right. I will say, though, that if they get into that type of game with teams right now that are playing the kind of offense like Jacksonville or maybe like the Chargers did yesterday, that's a pretty dangerous way to live. I get it. I understand what you're saying. That's a dangerous way to live. You want to play that kind of football because you make a mistake here or there, and they're going to put up those 35 to 40 points. Ryan in Lackawanna. Hi, Ryan. You're on WGR.
Sal, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Say we clinch our playoff berth tonight. What are your thoughts on sitting the starters for the next remainder, a couple games to keep us all healthy? You think there's a chance Sean does that?
I don't. I think as long as the division is alive, he will not do that.
Okay.
I don't think that is something that they would do unless they knew for sure that they could not get the division. As long as they are mathematically alive for the division, I think that they play. Now, next week, the Patriots play before the Bills. The Patriots play at 1 p.m. The Bills play at 4:25. Assuming the Patriots beat the Jets, the Bills still have to beat the Eagles to put more pressure on the Patriots to finish it out against the Dolphins the next week. If the Patriots were to lose against the Jets, then, man, all is on the table, and you go out there and win. So I don't see him doing that. I do understand the question and point. At some point, you might want to back off a little bit if you know, but that probably, to me, doesn't happen if the Bills do win next week. They still have to win now, remember. If the Bills and Patriots both win next week, okay? I think the only time the Bills back off on starters is during their game against the Jets in Week 18 when you see the scoreboard and know what the Patriots are doing. You have to be aware of that. That's how I think they would play it. Let's go to Mike in Colorado. Hi, Mike.
Yes, good morning. Happy holidays to you.
You too.
I guess I just got a real blah feeling about this game. Yeah, you're happy that they won the game, but all you can do, in a way, is sit back and say to yourself, I mean, it's the same weaknesses that have plagued this team all year, and there's three of them, and I'll get to my points real quick. The first one is this team constantly playing down to the level of the competition, which, you go back to the New Orleans game, for instance, and then you go to Miami, and then, of course, this game. And then that's one thing. Then the second thing, obviously, which has plagued this team all year, why they can't get it somewhat corrected, is the running defense. The run defense is just atrocious week in and week out against very average backs. And then thirdly, it would have to be the wide receiver play. And, these aren't things that are just one or two off. I mean, these are things that have plagued this team all year. And sooner or later, you got to think that it's going to catch up to this team. And that's all I have. Thank you, Sal.
Okay, so you're not wrong in everything you say, but I just want to point out every team in every market, in every fan base is pointing to also flaws they have that could catch up to them. And this is where I say there is no perfect team. I understand that the Jacksonville Jaguars look really good on offense right now. I mean, they've had their problems big time this year in other areas, and especially with offense. Right now, they're playing really good football. The New England Patriots, last week you saw some flaw. Last night, Drake Mace put some ball in harm's way. He turned the ball over, fumbled twice, turned the ball over a couple times. There are things that every team does. Look at Denver yesterday, a team that right now has the number 1 seed, I believe, and they are a team that did not look very good yesterday. They have this very vaunted defense that got carved up yesterday. Every team has warts. You can't, I know you strive for perfection, and you're not wrong, Mike, what you say about all these things that, what you hope is that all those things on any day don't all come together to really bite you because you can't overcome them with a running game like they did in the first half. The Bills' running game overcame it. Or Josh Allen playing Superman like he might have 2 weeks ago, whatever it is. So, yeah, I get it. I do. I understand, and you're not wrong. Those are things that have hurt the Bills, and they could come back to bite the Bills, no doubt. I think this conversation's happening in every single market and fan base about their team in these types, in going into the playoffs, and what could go wrong. There is no, vaunted Kansas City Chiefs team from like a few years ago. The Rams look like the most complete team in the NFL until the fourth quarter of their game Thursday night against the Seahawks. Seahawks look great. The Rams put one on them for 3 quarters, right? I mean, it's the league. And yep, you could go into a game and you could have the run defense look terrible and the receivers be terrible and the third thing you pointed out, but all that could happen in one game. They could lose, and we could be sitting here lamenting it on a Monday and saying the season's over. There's no doubt about that. You hope you get to each game and all those things don't come together to kill you and to hurt you and to end your season, and you escape with a 23-20 win if they do, like they did yesterday. That was the final score in Cleveland yesterday. Bills beat the Browns 11-4 on the season, 4 straight wins for the Bills, who continue to really play really great football in December, as they usually do under this regime, but they're still in the 6th seed overall. We'll talk about the AFC playoff picture later as we go. A lot of you on hold. I'll get to you after the timeout. Let's do it right here, though, on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show.